tonight I have a very ambitious goal. Here. Okay. To cover, to at least put Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam in the sijn, in the prison. We'll take him out of the prison next time, inshallah. So for 1 week, inshallah, we'll delay those ayat. So he'll be in the prison. That's a joke of the sheikh in Medina. But let's start, inshallah, how far we can go, inshallah.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وقال الذي اشتراه من مصر لامرأته أكرمي مثواه عسى أن ينفعنا أو نتخذه ولدا وكذلك مكنا ليوسف في الأرض ولنعلمه من تأويل الأحاديث والله غالب على أمره ولكن أكثر الناس لا يعلمون.
Okay, so now just want to give you a quick recap. Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam brothers kidnapped him, threw him in the well, lied about him, cried as a deception, and now Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam was taken out from prison by the traders and sold into Egypt. So now that ayah, this ayah will actually start a new phase of his life. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَقَالَ الَّذِي اشْتَرَاهُ مِن مِصْرَ لِامْرَأَتِهِ أَكْرِمِ مَثْوَاهُ. The men who purchased him in Egypt said to his wife, make sure his life is respectable here. Okay, what's going on here? The person who bought, his name is Aziz Misr in the Qur'an. We don't know his real name from the Qur'an. There are biblical stories which give his real name. Secondly, it looks like that he was right next to king. He was an important person. When he was an intelligent, sharp person, he saw Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam as a kid, and he saw that there's a talent in this young kid. He will benefit me and he will benefit us. So he purchased him. And throughout the context of Surah Yusuf, he was sold multiple times, because the context suggests that the final buyer was actually this minister. So he was taken out from the caravan, then to the basically a wholesale market where kids are being sold in Egypt, let's say, and then from wholesale to the retail, and then finally now this person who was the Aziz of the Misr, who was basically a government official right next to the king, he bought Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam. Interestingly, the first thing he said to his wife when he gave his wife a present, he says, Akrimi mathwa. Make sure his life is respectable here. It's very important. Akrimi mathwa. This ayah is coming right next to the ayah where his brothers didn't show him any respect. And I told you this last time, that your own brothers, your own family might take you for granted. They might not recognize that how much talent or skills you have, but some other people were going to recognize that. So he's saying, Akrimi maswa. Make sure he's respectable here. Then he says, Asa'i yanfa'na aw nattakhidahu walada. There's a good chance, there's a good chance that he will be used to us. We will use him for our own benefit, and we might adopt him. Let's see how it goes. But it looks like a very good talent. Then Allah says, وَكَذَلِكَ مَكَّنَّا لِيُوسُفَ. Allah take a pause here, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala actually mentions, this is how, كَذَلِكَ مَكَّنَّا لِيُوسُفَ فِي الْأَرْضِ. This is how we gave Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam a strong footing in Egypt. You know, this is very important. You have to see life of Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam from different angle. From the angle of Yaqub alayhi salatu wasalam, is he going through pain? Absolutely. Ask any parents when the Amber Alert comes. By the way, in Texas, Amber Alert comes very often, right? Ask those parents what they are going through. Yaqub must be going through tremendous pain. From the angle of the brothers who kidnapped him, and now they removed Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam. Are they happy? They are extremely happy that they have removed the seed who were getting the attention of father. So now they thought that they will get the attention of the father. But from the angle of Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam, or let's say from the angle of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the master plan, the divine angle, it was Allah's planning that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to give Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam an exposure of the Egypt, an internship in the White House in Egypt, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have to save him, because in the future he have to become a king who have the authority, or right next to the king who have the authority, and he need exposure for that. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala use all these hate of the brothers and these jealous people so that eventually Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam can get their internship in the White House. Allah says, كَذَلِكَ مَكَّنَّا لِيُوسُفَ فِي الْأَرْضِ. It is our planning. We were the one who planned that Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam will get this footing in Egypt. You might see apparently there is evil happening, there is harm happening, but you know they say difficult roads leads to beautiful destination. That's what happening in the case of Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam. And then Allah says, وَنُعَلِّمَهُ مِن تَأْوِيلِ الْأَحَادِيثِ. And Allah did that. Allah gave him a strong footing in Egypt. He is now living in a strong household in Egypt. وَلِنُعَلِّمَهُ مِن تَأْوِيلِ الْأَحَادِيثِ. This is very important for the story of Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam. And that's how we were going to teach him the ta'wil of ahadith. Some people translate this as a dream interpretation, that we were going to teach Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam how to interpret the dream. But actually ahadith is different than ilm ru'ya. Ahadith is also from hadith, crisis management. How to basically you were going to be dealt with the political, economical crisis, and how you have to deal with that. We see in the life of Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam in future, he will be a great politician, he will be a great economist from that angle. So Allah is teaching that. And you have to understand, if he is getting internship in the house in Egypt, which is politically very active, from the lap of his father in the villages, now what's happening? Now big delegations of politicians are coming at this guy's house, and Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam is working in that house. Maybe he's vacuuming the room, he's listening to that conversation. So his grooming, eventually his intelligence is growing by the environment he is in right now. So that's happening. Allah says, and this is by the way the summary. If you will ask me 2-3 ayat which is summary of Surah Yusuf, I'll say one is this phrase, وَاللَّهُ غَالِبٌ عَلَىٰ أَمْرِهِ وَلَكِنَّ أَكْثَرَ النَّاسِ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ. Allah says, Allah is in complete control over the matters of Yusuf, but majority of the people did not realize that Allah is in the control of his matters. Brothers thought, we are in control of Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam matters. We're going to put him in the well and we'll control. Later on, these women of Egypt are going to think we are controlling his matter. Then the politicians will think we are controlling his matter. Allah says, Wallahu ghalibun ala amri. It is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who was in complete control of the matters of Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam, but majority of the people did not even realize this. By the way, now it's coming, the next scene of Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam exam. First test of Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam was the test of man or woman? Tell me. First test was test of men. Didn't the brothers tested him? The first test was the test of men, right? The first test was the test of physical abuse, right? The first test was the test of toxic masculinity, right? Right, sisters? Okay. The first test was the test of jealousy and hate, right? Take exactly opposite for the second test. Now second test is coming. Second test is test of woman, and they know how to define woman back in the days. Second test is the test of love or hate. Now the test of love is coming. If the first test was the test of toxic masculinity, second test is the test of toxic femininity. Right? Before you can move on, you have to write this point down. If you have to be a leader, Allah will test you from the haters and from the lovers. Subhanallah. In the case of brothers, it was a test from the hate. Now the test which is coming inshallah in the next few ayat is the test of from the angle of love. And both are the test. Many a times you fail to recognize the test coming from the angle of love. Because when it's coming from the angle of hate, you will immediately say, this problem, this hater is hating me. But the hate or the love, as long as it's asking you to disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it's a test of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay. Now let's start inshallah. Now the second scene is coming inshallah.
ولما بلغ أشده آتيناه حكما وعلما وكذلك نجزي المحسنين. وراودته التي هو في بيتها عن نفسه وغلقت الأبواب وقالت هيت لك قال معاذ الله إنه ربي أحسن مثواه إنه لا يفلح الظالمون.
Beautiful, mashallah, Yafi. Now, the second test is coming where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is actually giving his analysis in the middle, what's happening. وَلَمَّا. Remember I told you, whenever the word lamma comes, it means that a story is moving forward now. Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam, from the child, now he have reached to the age of puberty. So that phrase is covered in وَلَمَّا بَلَغَ أَشُدَّهُ آتَيْنَاهُ حُكْمًا وَعِلْمًا. When he came of age, when he reaches to the age of full youth or full, let's say, manhood, we gave him two things, hukman and ilman, as a gift. And I'll tell you what it is. But what was that age? Anyone guess? Now what was that age? Yeah? Puberty. Some scholars say it's puberty. Some say it's 15, some say it's 18, some say it's 20. Ibn Abbas said it's 33. So there are multiple opinions. I don't want to make this academic. But from the language standpoint, all the, at least the 20, 25 and 33, they make more sense. Not only because it's coming from Ibn Abbas, a solid authority, but even from other angles. But from the language standpoint also, you have to pay attention. If you see the ayah, Balagha ashuddahu, this is when you don't only hit the age of puberty, rather your youthfulness, your hormones at the top level, at the pinnacle level. That is the age when you will actually say, وَلَمَّا بَلَغَ أَشُدَّهُ آتَيْنَاهُ حُكْمًا وَعِلْمًا. Okay, second thing. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him two things in this age. First is hukman, second is ilman. You know what is hukman? What is hukman? Any idea? Huh? That's hikmah. That's mutaradif synonym, but hukmah is different than hikmah. Hukmah is, some people say that prophethood. It's not agreed upon. It's a relatively weaker opinion here, but there is an opinion. But hukman literally means, the ability to make hukum, the ability to make a decision. When you have an ability to make a right decision at a right time, you are given hukmah. Is that clear? And obviously from that hikmah comes wisdom, because a person who is wise, only he or she will be able to make good decision, right decision at the right time. Then second thing Allah says, after Allah gave him hukmah, then Allah gave him ilma. Allah gave him knowledge also. Did you see something? What is coming first here? Decision-making power or the knowledge? Decision-making power. Very important. Next ayah, the test of his decision-making power will be there. Point to note, all the young people in the high school, young people in the college, when opposite gender is bombarding you with the attention, haram relationship, right? How you will protect yourself. Even if you don't know the fiqh of family, even if you don't know the fiqh of gender interaction, but if you were given this hukmah before the ilm, if you were given the ability to make a right decision, which will benefit you and not harm you at the right time, even if you have not studied those fiqh classes, you will be survived. Just by knowing that this decision which I will make in my college will going to harm me, this in and of itself is a huge blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, even if you are not qualified in the Sharia and fiqh angle. Is that clear? And then Allah says to add, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him ilma also. Some people say like Ibn Abbas and others, I think here ilma is prophethood. But again, not agreed upon. But anyway, Allah gave him two things, hukman and ilma. Allah says, وَكَذَلِكَ نَجْزِي الْمُحْسِنِينَ. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will going to reward all the people who do ihsan with this. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him two favors. Decision-making ability at the right time and the knowledge. You recited next ayah, right? Okay. Now there are two ayat coming. This is a test of Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam. I'm using very conservative language. First ayah we're going to talk about the conversation which they were having. Second ayah will talk about the psychology, thought process of both of them. It's very beautiful how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala divided in different ayat. So Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam was given as a gift to the minister's wife, right? Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam was good looking. On top of that, this minister wife was not very spiritual. You have to keep these things in mind. Just add layers and layers and layers that Yusuf ﷺ was not living with his parents. He was living in the dorms of UTD. So his parents cannot see him what he will do, right? I'm just trying to make it relevant, okay? So his parents are not aware. Parents are thinking, mashallah, my son, my daughter is Ibn Taymiyyah and Hafsa, but actually now parents are not aware of what they were going to do outside. On top of that, Yusuf ﷺ was never indulged in this kind of relationship, so he was single. That adds into the intense scene which is coming. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala started that Yusuf ﷺ, one of the mistakes which people do when they recite this ayah, they will think, one day a woman woke up and she said, come on Yusuf. No, that's a mistake. This was the last incident. Allah started by saying, وَرَاوَدَتْهُ. The common translation is, she seduced him, but that's not a good translation, because that just takes away the entire scene of Yusuf ﷺ, basically his chastity. Rawadathu comes from irada and muravida. Basically, you want to change the irada of someone. Yusuf ﷺ is lowering his gaze, and this person is trying to gauge the attention, bombarding him with the attention. Maybe she is wearing some body-revealing clothes. She is trying to get his attention by cologne, by perfume, by outfit, by jokes, by whatever. وَرَاوَدَتْهُ. Add a layer to this. هُوَ فِي بَيْتِهَا. Wallahi, there's so much intense this scene becomes by this line. While she was trying to get his attention continuously, not one day, continuously, she was trying to joke around to get his attention, whether through sympathy or through seduction, and he's just keeping his gaze lower, keeping his gaze lower. Then one day, when he was in her house, take a pause here. Who gave her this house? Who gave her this house? Her husband. Remember this, because the ending of this ayah is very important regarding this. Okay, when he was in her house. Take a pause here, brothers and sisters. You know, most of the infidelity and cheating happens at the workplace in America. I was recently doing a research for my class. I was teaching in Houston, Islam versus modern sexual ethics, and I realized 69% of the cases of infidelity are the reason of the divorces in Muslim community, according to Los Angeles report. And according to them, 60% of those infidelity and cheating cases are happening with the close friends and the people who work with you. So now this person, the minister wife, she's kind of a, let's say Yusuf is his secretary, Yusuf is secretary, and he was in her office. And she have to, basically, she is a boss. He have to listen. And she's trying to get his attention also. Add these layers. Huwa fi baytiha. So he was in her house. He have to listen and obey in terms of the general things. Then Allah says, وَرَاوَدَتْهُ الَّتِي هُوَ فِي بَيْتِهَا عَنْ نَفْسِهِ. Consistently she was trying to get his attention so that he will going to give himself to her. He will going to give himself to her. That's عَنْ نَفْسِهِ. Did you see how intense the scene have become? Then she did one more thing at this time, the final thing. وَغَلَّقَتِ الْأَبْوَابِ. And she closed the door. By the way, غَلَّقَت, if you know the Arabic, غَلَّقَ يُغَلِّقُ تَغْلِيقًا, this basically, she did not only close the door, she locked it. In such a expensive locking system, because غَلَّقَ comes at she invests some time in finding this locking system. This is very important, because next two ayat will expose that how Allah will help Yusuf ﷺ, even though she invested time and resources to find this locking system. وَغَلَّقَتِ الْأَبْوَابِ. And Abwab says it was a one door or many door? Multiple doors, more than 2 doors. Some Israeliyat say there were 7 doors before you can find that private quarter of Zulaykha, private quarter of minister's wife. So she made a plan, everything, and she locked because she wanted to move forward. Why she is locking everything? Why she was locking the door? Because at least she was not modernist. Because modernist brothers and sisters, they're going to make this as an issue of choice. They won't even need to lock the door. Right? So she said, lock the door, hide from the eyes of the people, and I will going to do whatever I have to do. Is that clear? وَغَلَّقَتِ الْأَبْوَابِ. Now you have to understand, she's trying to get attention from clothing, from outfit, from language. He's not giving her attention. Then she locked the door. Still, he's not giving the attention. Still, he's not moving forward. Then she became frustrated a little bit. And she said this. وَقَالَتْ هَيْتَ لَكَ. Yusuf, come on. This statement is just telling you that what is the situation in the room. A single person is invited by the boss, who is beautiful, because she is a queen. Not a queen, but a wife of a very important political figure in Egypt. And she's very rich. She's a woman of the status. And she's inviting by abusing her power. And she's inviting you towards this. And you have to listen to her because you are keep listening to her throughout your career. And she said, come on, Yusuf. Hayta lak. Now at this point, Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam realized, if I was going to say this to her, that ittaqi Allah, ukhti, sister, fear Allah, will she believe? Will she agree on Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam? This woman is overwhelmed with the desires and evil desires. She doesn't believe in Allah. She doesn't believe in Akhirah. Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam used a strategy, which is the best strategy, subhanAllah, anyone can have at that time. And that's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us. He said, first, the moment Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam was invited, come on Yusuf, he said, Haytalak qala ma'adallah. He said, I cannot translate ma'azallah. Ma'azallah can be translated as I seek refuge of Allah. But even a'udhu billah is I seek refuge of Allah. Then what's the difference between ma'azallah? Ma'az, you know the meme coming at the ma'az? Meme at the beginning? Instead of a'udhu, in a'udhu alif comes. In meme with the fatha, when it comes, it means that Allah is talking about not only seeking refuge of Allah, rather you want to go to a place or a time. Place or a time where you seek refuge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because it's zarf zaman or makan. So basically, Yusuf alayhi salam is stuck in the room. So he's saying, Allah, I seek your refuge and take me out from this toxic environment. Ma'az Allah. Now take a pause here. Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam as a young person is saying, take me out of this toxic environment. Uqsimu billah, most of us would have failed this test. We would have loved to be in that environment. Because we are such a hedonistic people. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us all hidayah. Ameen ya Rabb. He said, Ma'az Allah. Allah, please take me out of this toxic environment. Give me refuge, protection. And then he's talking to her. I told you this ayah is talking about their talking. Next ayah is talking about their thought process. He said, Innahu Rabbi ahsana maswai. He said, my master, he said, Rabbi, my master has made my life good here. Innahu la yuflihu adh-dhalimun. Those who will oppress and those who are wrongdoer, they will never get what they want. Did you see something? He used the language. By the way, most of the scholars say Innahu Rabbi here. Rabb is not going back to Allah. Most of the scholars say Rabb is going back to the master, minister. And he's talking to his wife. So that's a psychological strategy for Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam, that if at this point I will give her dawah, she's overwhelmed with the desire. So what he said, let's see, your husband, my master, have given me so much. He have made my life easy here. Do you want me to cheat on him? I have to show loyalty to him. He have made my life easy. Basically, he's reminding, I'm showing loyalty to my master. He has given me everything. Your husband, where is your loyalty? That's the best psychological strategy which Yusuf Islam can have at that time. Innahu Rabbi ahsana maswai. Innahu la yuflihu adh-dhalimun. So those who will do wrong, they will never get what they want. Okay, now inshallah the next ayah.
وَلَقَدْ هَمَّتْ بِهِ وَهَمَّ بِهَا لَوْلَا أَن رَّأَىٰ بُرْهَانَ رَبِّهِ كَذَلِكَ لِنَصْرِفَ عَنْهُ السُّوءَ وَالْفَحْشَاءَ إِنَّهُ مِنْ عِبَادِنَا الْمُخْلَصِينَ.
Okay, now this ayah is talking about their psychology, their thinking process. They were having this conversation, but what was going on in their mind? Allah is telling us that also. They were both looking, okay, minister wife was looking to get Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam attention. Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam was trying to prevent the scenario. Allah says, وَلَقَدْ هَمَّتْ بِهِ وَهَمَّ بِهَا لَوْلَا أَرَّى بُرْهَانَ رَبِّي. Allah says, she wanted him for sure. She wanted him for sure. You know, hum is different than irada. When English translation, subhanAllah, most of them in front of you also maybe wanted. Want. This want is not there. Hum is different than irada, wanted. Hum is different. Hum is like when you, hum means the energy or the force when you initiate an action. That's hum. So when she approached seducing him, the word is used hammat. Okay? So وَلَقَدْ هَمَّتْ بِهِ, she initiated and she wanted to basically show the energy to seduce him. She wanted him for sure. وَهَمَّ بِهَا, and he would have wanted her had he not seen the ayat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What is going on here? There are, by the way, if for more detail you can read my thesis. This ayah have 8 opinions. What it means, I'll just tell you 2, okay? Which is relevant for us. First, one opinion is that they both wanted each other, but their want was different. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلَقَدْ هَمَّتْ بِهِ وَهَمَّ بِهَا. Allah did not say, وَلَقَدْ هَمَّا بِهِمَا. Allah basically separates both of their want and desires. So Allah says, she wanted, but she wanted to do haram thing. He wanted her in a way that if you are fasting, if you are hungry and thirsty after Salatul Asr, if you will see your non-Muslim friend drinking Pepsi, will you feel craving? If you're thirsty, you will. Forget about Pepsi, water. You're healthy people, right? Water. You'll feel craving. But by feeling craving, will you get the sin? No. You will actually get reward if you will be patient, right? So, Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam, he wanted, because he was a man desires these things, but he saw the signs of Allah, so he did not proceed and he wanted to stay away. That's the first opinion, right? That there was a difference between the approach of the haram and natural want, but he wanted to control. Is that clear? Because this opinion argues that what's the point if you will say Yusuf alayhi salam did not even have desire, then what's the point of greatness of Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam? The greatness is when our young brothers and sisters in the college, in high school, when girls are throwing at them and guys are bombarding them with unnecessary attention towards sisters. At that time, they are saying, no, I want to protect myself. Even though your inclination is towards them, but you are saying, I don't want to commit any haram. That's where your legacy will be developed. So that's one opinion coming from these scholars. The second opinion is that Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam would have wanted had he not seen the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What are these signs? There are multiple opinions. What I'm just telling you, he saw the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which was inculcated in his heart as the nur, as the burhan, as the clear signs between the distinction of the left and the right, because he was a nabi, or nabi to be made. So he did not go for that indecency. Okay. Next ayah, the same ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, and this is very important for young people, كَذَلِكَ لِنَصْرِفَ عَنْهُ السُّوءَ وَالْفَحْشَاءَ. That's how we prevented Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam from evil and from indecency. That's how we prevent him from evil and indecency. Brothers and sisters, those who are in college and high school, and all of you who are struggled and surrounded by different sins, if you are committing sins, ask yourself, how unlucky or how unfortunate I am that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have taken me out from his divine protection. Because here Allah says, who protected Yusuf from this? Allah. If you are committing a sin, and if you are enjoying that sin, that's a serious crime than the sin in of itself. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have left you with your ego. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not even giving you divine protection now. Can you imagine this? How major this crime is. You are not even having the feeling of remorse and regret. You are enjoying that time. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us all the tawfiq to understand this. This is serious. كَذَلِكَ لِنَصْرِفَ عَنْهُ السُّوءَ وَالْفَحْشَاءَ. This is how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prevented him from the vulgarity, shameless, indecency and evil. Did you see something very beautiful? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says shameless is different than evil, even though shameless is evil. But Allah says you have to pay attention to protect from all the evil and especially from shamelessness. It's very relevant for our society. إِنَّهُ مِنْ عِبَادِنَا الْمُخْلَصِينَ. Indeed, he was one of our purified servants. One qiraat will be إِنَّهُ مِنْ عِبَادِنَا الْمُخْلَصِينَ. The other qiraat will be إِنَّهُ مِنْ عِبَادِنَا الْمُخْلِصِينَ. So one translation will be he was from one of our purified slaves, protected slaves, or he was one of our sincere servants. Regardless of the case, he was protected because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted to protect him. Okay, now next ayah.
واستبق الباب وقدت قميصه من دبر وألف يا سيدها لدى الباب قالت ما جزاء من أراد بأهلك سوءا إلا أن يسجن أو عذاب أليم.
Okay, come back to the scene. Last time Allah told us what was their thought process. But what's going on? She tried to get attention. He's not giving attention. Then she increased in her seduction more and more and more. And he's trying to avoid. Eventually, she said, Hay talak, come. And Yusuf said, Ma'azallah, I cannot disobey and I cannot show my loyalty is with the master. How can I do this? And then, the last ayah said that she locked the doors. You know that? There is no point of running towards the door, right? What Yusuf alayhi salam did? وَاسْتَبَقَ الْبَابِ. He ran towards the door. Habibi Yusuf, where you will run? Door is locked. Doors are locked. But doors are locked by Zulaykha, minister's wife. Yusuf alayhi salam is trusting minister wife or Allah? Allah. He said, I will take my first step towards the door and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will going to protect me. First step, my brothers and sisters, to leave zina. Are you willing to take the first step to leave zina? You are surrounded by shamelessness. You are surrounded by pornography. You are surrounded by all the evil thing. Maybe our generation is unprecedented in their surroundings of the shamelessness. But still, if you will take first step towards coming back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah will help you miraculously. Because Allah promised, كَذَلِكَ نَجْزِي الْمُحْسِنِينَ. Allah did not say, my promise is only for Yusuf. My promise is for you. Take one step, I will protect you. But are you willing to take first step? Oh, there is no benefit. Habibi, there is no benefit in Yusuf running towards the locked door. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala opened the ways for him. Take first step towards saying no to the haram relationship. وَاسْتَبَقَ الْبَابَ وَقَدَّتْ قَمِيصَهُ. Okay, before we can move on, just few things about the haram relationship. Did you see something here? That Yusuf alayhi salatu wassalam, here, he could have done all the haram relationship and he still could manage his Facebook page that he's very righteous. Because it was happening in the private doors, right? Maybe just delete the web browser history and still get ready for the Jummah khutbah. It's okay. I'm trying to give this deliberately, these examples, and I'm pretty sure some of you will understand this. It's happening behind the doors. Because Yusuf alayhi salam, whether behind the doors, behind the scenes, or in front of people, Allah is looking at me. What face I will show to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala if I'll do this? May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us this life which is full of sincerity and avoid hypocrisy from our heart. Ameen ya Rab. If you are struggling from haram relationship, I know this is not part of Surah Yusuf. Take first step towards doing tawbah, whether brother or sister. If you are in the right age, move towards halal relationship for the marriage. If you cannot, then leave. Break up. Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah wrote an entire book, Rawdatul Muhibbeen, and I guess 25th chapter of that book, he actually brings the heading. One day we can discuss that. He says, give the tafseer of this ayah. He says, Man taraka mahbooba haraman fabuddila lahu halalan a'addallahu khayran min. He said, if you will leave your mahbooba, you know what is mahbooba? Mahbooba is girlfriend and mahboob is boyfriend. If you will leave your girlfriend or boyfriend for Allah's sake, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will going to give you a halal and a better substitute. And he brought the example of Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam. Yes, early on he had the test, but then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him kingdom. He was already good looking, he had the wealth. He was married to one of the most beautiful women of Egypt. What else he could ask for? say no to haram relationship, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will open 10 doors of halal in a better way. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us all the ability to do this, inshallah. Okay. Okay. وَاسْتَبَقَ الْبَابِ. So Yusuf alayhi salam started running towards the door. What the minister wife did? Okay. While she is trying to chase Yusuf alayhi salam, is she in a body revealing outfit? Most likely, because she wanted to grab the attention. Remember this. Is she in full cosmetics and makeup to get the attention of Yusuf? Most likely, because he was Ravadat, who tells us. Remember this. وَاسْتَبَقَ الْبَابِ. So Yusuf alayhi salam had no way. He said, I will run towards the door. Minister wife says, how can you run? I will going to grab you. Where you will run? It's locked. Just fun fact. You know, most of the guys, may Allah protect all of us, if we were in that situation, woman will be running towards the door and we will be running behind her. Because our standards have been changed completely. Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam wanted to protect himself. So now he's running towards the door. The door is locked. Then minister wife is chasing him. وَقَدَّتْ قَمِيصَهُ مِن دُبُرٍ. And at the end, when the door, by the way, now doors were multiple. So the narrations which we get from biblical narrations is that as soon as he's running towards the door is opening by itself. The sign of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then the another door, and then the another door. And in the final door, when he was about to cross, she grabbed him. Grabbed it from the front or from the back? Back. And she, I'm sorry. Yeah. وَهُوَ مِنَ الْكَاذِبِينَ. No, I'm kidding. And she grabbed him from the back and she ripped off the shirt. And the door was open, and who was waiting outside? وَأَلْفَيَا سَيِّدَهَا لَدَى الْبَابِ. The moment shirt was ripped, 7th door was open, and she saw, and Yusuf saw, that who was waiting outside? Her? Quran doesn't say her husband. Very important. Quran says her Sayyid. Why? Wallahu alam, looks like that her husband was the only authority she accepted because she did not have any spiritual authority. Is that clear? And she was trying to cheat that authority. Okay? Okay. Just take a pause here. A most righteous person in Dallas. Most righteous man in Dallas. He's working with a beautiful woman, and they come out of the room running, both of them. His shirt is ripped off. She is in full cosmetics and makeup. And then when the community outside see both of them, the woman accuses him of rape. Before even you will tell me what will be your reaction, tell me what will be the community reaction. You know he is righteous. Don't try to think about someone else. You think he is righteous. You have heard about his righteousness. But his shirt was ripped off. Front, back, who have time to verify? She is in full makeup, full cosmetics, maybe body revealing outfit. She just ordered from one of the websites. Okay? And then community saw this. What will be the reaction? Because she immediately accuses him that he was raping me. What will be the community reaction on Facebook? Tell me. Hashtag? No, me too, he too, she too, it too. Just remember to leave that. Okay. But do you understand now? Do you understand the sensitivity of this? We immediately jump to, first of all, we don't even care for looking at the evidences. We are just eating nachos and enjoying those accusations on Facebook and Twitter and TikTok and YouTube these days. Okay. She said, when she saw immediately her husband, now see her conversation. Immediately, قالت, she cried out, ما جزاء من أراد بأهلك سوءا إلا أن يسجن أو عذاب أليم. Wallahi, if I would have time, I would have told you how much psychology is hidden in this ayah. If a woman is being harassed, she would seek help, right? And the first thing she will say, he's raping me. This woman is saying, when she saw the husband, what you were going to do if someone wants to harm your family. Did you see her language? How much hate she's trying to incite against him, that he would harm him. Forget about myself and my rib and all those things. This in and of itself is telling the psychology of the liar. You remember a few psychology we discussed in the first class where the brothers were lying? Now you will going to see from this perspective that what will be the punishment? What will be the payback? مَا جَزَاءُ مَنْ أَرَادَ بِأَهْلِكَ سُوءٍ, who wanted to do something violent, shamefulness, or shameful to your family, except torture them, or actually except imprison them or torture them. By the way, why she didn't mention kill him? Either he mentioned imprison him or torture him. Why she didn't mention kill? Tell me. Because she still loves him. So obviously, and we'll see in the future she will going to make a few more attempts after this. Is that clear? Okay. What Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam did at this time. Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam did not say, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will going to help me, so I should not say anything. Someone is accusing you falsely, at least you should say, I didn't do it. This is your responsibility. Yusuf alayhi salam says, قَالَ هِيَ رَاوَدَتْنِي عَنْ نَفْسِي. No. The hiya here is actually additional. If it would have rawadatni an nafsi, this would have been, but he said, no, she tried to seduce me. I didn't do anything. Yusuf Islam said this. But now obviously, you have to understand, in our times, if a guy is saying no, and the girl is trying to accuse the guy, and his shirt is ripped off, and the girl is in full makeup, you know the intensity of the scene in our communities, right? Okay. وَالشَّهِدَ شَاهِدٌ مِّنْ أَهْلِهَا. By the way, husband know his wife, right? Husband know the character of Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam also, right? Husband also see that who is in the makeup and cosmetics, right? But obviously he's a politician. Election is coming. You don't want any scandal. Maybe give hush money. Try to find out. Try to throw this under the bus. So, وَالشَّهِدَ شَاهِدٌ مِّنْ أَهْلِهَا. So this news was going out within the house, within the castle. Actually,
قال هي راودتني عن نفسي وشهد شاهد من أهلها إن كان قميصه قد من قبل فصدقت وهو من الكاذبين وإن كان قميصه قد من دبر فكذبت وهو من الصادقين فلما رأى قميصه قد من دبر قال إنه من كيدكن إن كيدكن عظيم.
Now, this news, obviously he said, no, he rawadatni an nafsi. Then they said, okay, let's figure this out. Who is saying right, who is saying wrong, who is true, who is false. Okay, let's figure out. وَشَهِدَ شَاهِدٌ مِّنْ أَهْلِهَا. A witness from her family came and they spoke. By the way, her family. Why? What's the significance of her family? If her family member, then it will be more biased towards her. Okay? This is, you will see throughout in Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam, Allah will give extra information to tell us how the situation was against Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam, but Allah helped him. وَشَهِدَ شَاهِدٌ مِّنْ أَهْلِهَا. So her family member came. إِنْ كَانَ قَمِيصُهُ قُدَّ مِنْ قُبُلٍ. That, okay, the situation is very simple. If the shirt is ripped off from the front, if the shirt happens to be torn from the front, فَصَدَقَتْ, then she is truthful, وَهُوَ مِنَ الْكَاذِبِينَ, and he is from the liars. وَإِنْ كَانَ قَمِيصُهُ قُدَّ مِنْ دُبُرٍ, and if it turns out that his shirt is torn from the back, then she is lying and he is an honest man. And what happened? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَلَمَّا رَأَى قَمِيصَهُ قُدَّ مِنْ دُبُرٍ. And when they saw that the shirt is torn from the back, now the situation is very clear. Take a pause here. Did you see his shirt came another time to save him? When was the first time shirt came in Surah Yusuf? In the brothers' incident, the brothers were lying. Who exposed their lie? The shirt of Yusuf. Minister wife is lying. What thing will expose her lie? Shirt. A very beautiful correlationship. فَلَمَّا رَأَى قَمِيصَهُ قُدَّ مِن دُبُرٍ. So when he saw his shirt torn from the back, now minister wife is talking to the minister, and I want you to pay close attention. He said, قَالَ إِنَّهُ مِن كَيْدِكُنْ إِنَّ كَيْدَكُنَّ عَظِيمٌ. This is yet another example of the scheming of you women. You womanly, he uses plural, you womanly schemes are truly incredible. Who is speaking this? Allah or the minister? Aziz, the minister. He's saying to his wife, as a human, as a husband, and as a politician. So he's saying he attributes his wife's actions to the whole of her sex or to a certain category of women he have in his mind. This is very important, subhanAllah, that if you will say that this is Allah speaking about all the women, then where you would take Aisha, where you would take Fatima, where you would take Khadija, where you take Asiya. So this is particularly the elites women of the Egypt who were known for these kinds of things, and it will further, we'll get clarification in the next ayat. Before we can move on, there are 2-3 lessons we can learn before we can have the second attempt of Yusuf Islam's seduction. First, they immediately looked at the evidence, right? Allah doesn't want us to give in our modern life also, to reach to the judgment, reach to the conclusion, especially on the social media when the accusations are coming, without looking at the evidences. This is very important. We are very premature people. This can destroy the reputation and defame so many brothers and sisters. Please, we don't believe in cancel culture. One day I should give a separate workshop on cancel culture, if I'll survive until that time. If I won't be cancelled until that time. Okay, second lesson. Elites in superpower. Egypt was a superpower back in the days. Elites in superpower, whether a man or a woman, will blackmail you to destroy you if you don't follow their desires. And they can go by putting even a false accusation of rape if you're not following their desires, or consequently jailing you or torturing you if you don't follow their desires. This is very useful principle. If you know, subhanAllah, one of the other things, if Yusuf would have been at fault, he would have been in prison, yes or no? Now minister wife is at the fault. Now see the minister language. You woman, you do these bad things. Inna kaida kunna azim. Next ayah, Yusuf a'ridu an hadha wastaghfiri li dhanbik innaki kunti min al-khatiin. You are truly at fault. That's it. No other repercussions. If Yusuf would have done something, he would have went into jail. She is proven that she is at fault. No repercussions, no consequences. This is another sign of a corrupt society. When the society becomes corrupt, they have different standards for different people, based on their financial status, based on their gender, based on their different approaches. So this is also one of the signs of the downfall of the Egyptian society back in the days.
يوسف أعرض عن هذا واستغفري لذنبك إنك كنت من الخاطئين وقال نسوة في المدينة امرأة العزيز تراود فتاها عن نفسه قد شغفها حبا إنا لنراها في ضلال مبين فلما سمعت بمكرهن أرسلت إليهن وأعتدت لهن متكأ وآتت كل واحدة منهن سكينا وقالت اخرج عليهن فلما رأينه أكبرنه وقطعن أيديهن وقلن حاش لله ما هذا بشرا إن هذا إلا ملك كريم.
Okay, we'll just finish inshallah until he goes into the prison about the prison we'll discuss next time because it's all 12:30. Just give me 10 minutes, inshallah, because we started at 12:40, inshallah. Okay. Now, the news start going out that there's something happening. Minister wife did something, and her servant said no. Now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is actually taking the camera outside of the house and the room to the society. The ayah says, وَقَالَ نِسْوَةٌ فِي الْمَدِينَةِ. This is very important, subhanAllah. Allah said, okay, in the Arabic, when he say, it will be qala. But when she say, it will be qalat. Okay, qalat. What the ayah says? Qala niswa or qalat niswa? So masculine, qalat, and niswa is feminine. So the woman said, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses qala instead of qalat. Do you see something? I looked at it during my PhD research that why this style is changed. The masculine verb is coming for the woman talking. And these women were evil because obviously their evil will be displayed in this ayah and the next ayah. Because they were gossiping, they were tarnishing the reputation of each other. Wallahu alam, one of the opinion is that usually, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, qala niswatun instead of qalat niswatun, that these women were talking in such a way that is not befitting for the discussions of the feminine nature, in terms of they were loud and they were gossiping and they wanted to make it viral. So that's why Allah actually captured that. Instead of qalat, Allah said qala niswa. Qala niswatun fil madina. Okay, this is now actually very important. Qala niswatun fil madina. A group of the women, a woman in the city, started saying, Imratul Aziz turavidu fataha an nafsi. Look at this language, Ya Rab. It said, the minister wife trying to seduce the servant boy, and she was failed at that attempt. Did you see something? They are saying that the minister wife was trying to seduce who? Fataha, that young boy. Do you see the language? You know, when in our hedonistic culture we use the language of chicks and boy and mine. This boy is mine, this boy is divine. Have you heard that? What's that ridiculous singer name? I don't know, my mind is not working. Don't Google it right now. I know grenade comes at the end, his name, or her name. When you are actually trying to say this, look at the language, so casual. You were trying to get his attention and you couldn't get, such a loser. Like very casual, dirty language, or you can't even flirt with that individual, with that young man or young woman. That's the language, subhanAllah, they're using. Imra'atul Aziz turavidu fataha nafsi, because when the society becomes hedonistic, that's what you were going to expect. Qad shaghafaha hubba. By the way, why they are doing this? This is very important. These were the women of status, perhaps married to the high minister's political rivals. So if you will have a scandal coming out from one political house, it means if I'll put their status down, it will be chance for me to come in the election power next. The election season is coming maybe soon. So that's what they thought. قَدْ شَغَفَهَا حُبًّا. And then they said, first of all, such a loser, she wanted to get the attention of a servant boy, and he said no to her. Such a loser. By the way, their tone is, if we were there, we would have done this. That's the tone, okay? And then they said, قَدْ شَغَفَهَا حُبًّا. Love for him has really taken over her heart. Means she is mesmerized, she is obsessed with the love of this servant boy. It's understandable. As far as we are concerned, إِنَّا لَنَرَاهَا فِي ضَلَالٍ مُبِينٍ. She's clearly lost. Did you see again? When the brothers of Yusuf were discussing within themselves, they reached to the conclusion her father is messed up. You remember that? When these people are discussing within themselves, they realize this minister wife is messed up. So this is something happened. When you are going to discuss within yourself, you will realize the outsiders are messed up. Okay. Oh, you decided. Okay. Now, minister wife saw the Facebook post that these people are making fun of her. And she was being cancelled from the invitation. Not cancelled. She was invited, so cancellation is not a good word. But socially, they were making memes about her. Right? I'm trying to make relevant. I don't know how else I can make relevant. So now she said, okay, I'll prove them wrong. How? She said, فَلَمَّا سَمِعَتْ بِمَكْرِهِنَّ when she heard about their makar. You know what is makar in Arabic? Any idea what is makar? Makar is not only gossiping. Makar is an evil planning. So makar is basically you are trying to plot something secretly. You are making sure that this news will go viral so that we can bring her status down. You know, by the way, all this celebrity culture, I'm talking about Bollywood and Hollywood and Netflix, not other the Muslim celebrity. About the celebrity, about the Hollywood and Netflix. Why there is scandals and all these things are always on the media? Because that's the best selling point, right? This entire nation loves this entire hedonistic, anything related to sexuality, that's in their mind. Or this person is cheating him, this person got impregnated by her, and you would say, oh, what's going on? Everything. Even if you are in Target aisle, Walmart aisle, the first thing is, okay, he cheated on him. So, and means it's in the veins of this entire godless society when you will see this. So, وَلَمَّا سَمِعَتْ بِمَكْرِهِنَّ وَأَرْسَلَتْ إِلَيْهِنَّ وَأَعْتَدَتْ لَهُنَّ مُتَّكَى. When she got word that these people are trying to bring her status down, she said, I will prove them wrong. What she said, she sent for them, arranged a relaxed setting for them. She sent everyone that, okay, this particular time, this particular day, all these women are invited at my house. Because she wanted to feed them, because she loved them, or she wanted to prove a point. Again, so not every invitation you have to go. Remember this. Okay. Allah understand. Okay, so all of them came. All of them came. وَأَرْسَلَتْ إِلَيْهِنَّ وَأَعْتَدَتْ لَهُنَّ مُتَّكَى. Allah is explaining how she arranged the sitting arrangement. It tells us that how much time she invested in event planning. So a relaxed setting was arranged by her because she wanted to give a view where they won't be distracted. It's like everyone is sitting, everyone have a great view in the middle. وَآتَتْ كُلَّ وَاحِدَةٍ مِّنْهُنَّ سِكِّينًا. This language, كُلَّ وَاحِدَةٍ, that everyone was walking, she herself was handling, take this knife, take this fruit, every one of them, take this knife, take this fruit, and enjoy the scenes. Something is about to happen. And obviously when they are coming, what they're thinking, this is next day or next moment after the scandal came out. So everyone is thinking about one thing. The discussion point of the entire party will be the scene. Remember this. And they haven't seen Yusuf because Yusuf is in the servant. So they haven't seen Yusuf. Minhunna sikina. So they said, okay, enjoy the meal, cut the fruit, eat. As they are doing, he said, Yusuf! وَقَالَتِ اخْرُجْ عَلَيْهِنْ. Yusuf, can you come outside? Okay, now these women, the entire day, night, they are making WhatsApp group about this instruction of what Yusuf did and how he denied. What will be their reaction if they are cutting the apple or fruit? Let's say if you are texting all of a sudden, now what happened? You don't even pay attention to the text, you're paying attention to the scene now, right? So now Yusuf come, and now all of a sudden they are looking at the gate. Now Yusuf is going to enter from here, right? So now they're not paying attention to what they are cutting. Now there are two opinions about what happened next, based on the language. فَلَمَّا رَأِينَهُ. When Yusuf ﷺ started walking, and they all saw Yusuf ﷺ, his beauty, the majesty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have given to him from his divine attributes, subhanallah. فَلَمَّا رَأِينَهُ. Yusuf ﷺ was so beautiful, was not beautiful in English, mean good looking. أَكْبَرْنَهُ. First opinion is, they were awestruck by the beauty and the feeling of Yusuf ﷺ. وَقَطَّعْنَا أَيْدِيَهُنْ. And they start cutting their hands out of distraction. That's the first opinion. Second opinion is that some of them became awestruck and they wanted to get the attention of Yusuf. So they cut their hand. Yusuf, I cut my hand. Please give me attention. You know, they say if seduction doesn't work, then we can play on his sympathy, right? So there are different strategies to get the attention. In any way, they were trying to do this. So they slice into their hands. By the way, take a pause here. Didn't I tell you in the last class also? Brothers were trying to get attention of the father, they harmed Yusuf, yes or no? Minister wife tried to get attention of Yusuf and she harmed Yusuf. Now these women will try to get attention of Yusuf and they will harm themselves along with Yusuf. If you are in high school, MSA, YM, college, the urge of getting the attention can potentially harm you and then harm others. This is very important. You know, when you see the entire culture on social media is the attention culture. Let me post this so that I can get more views, more attention of my followers. And people are actually abusing this even in religion. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect all of us. Ameen ya Rab. So again, they saw Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam. They were awestruck by the feeling when they looked at him, and they sliced their hands, or some of them did that because they wanted to get the attention of Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam out of sympathy. You know, okay, I don't want to go there. Okay. وَقُلْنَا حَاشَ لِلَّهِ وَقُلْنَا حَاشَ لِلَّهِ. And Yusuf alayhi salam is not paying attention. They are cutting their hands. Yusuf alayhi salam is not even giving an attention. It's not like, oh, you cut hand because of me. Oh, no, he didn't say that. He just keep moving forward. Now they realize Yusuf alayhi salam is not giving attention. He's just doing his work. He's not even looking at us. قُلْنَا حَاشَ لِلَّهِ مَا هَذَا بَشَرًا. We don't even think he's a man. إِنْ هَذَا إِلَّا مَلَكٌ كَرِيمٌ. He's a noble angel. Maybe one of the opinion of these scholars, it's not the majority opinion, but I'm just sharing it because of the context, that may have a disapproving, this Malakun Kareem, he's an angel, is like he's too noble to have these kinds of desires. He doesn't even have those desires. That's also a strategy of getting the attention. They're trying everything to get the attention of Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam. Okay. By the way, now when Minister wife saw this, that these women are bombarding him with the attention, she said, mission accomplished. She said, قَالَتْ فَذَلِكُنَّ الَّذِي لُمْتُنَّنِي فِيهِ. She said, so there you have it. He is the one you were criticizing me about, and yes, I did try to seduce him. Look at how open she is about this, and she's still not in prison. And if Yusuf would have done something, he would have been in prison. This is the downfall of any society, right? When you don't have justice, proper justice according to the divine justice. And yes, I did try to seduce him. فَاسْتَعْصَمْ, but he held his ground. He did not give himself to me. And then she says, وَلَئِنْ لَمْ يَفْعَلْ مَا آمُرُهُ لَيَسْجُنَنَّ وَلَيَكُونَنَّ مِنَ الصَّاغِرِينَ. But if he will going to persist, and if he will not going to give himself to me, then he will be in prison, and he will join the ranks of the Saghirin. What is Saghirin? Saghirin is small. Then he will be from these small people. I'm giving him opportunity, have a relationship with me, and have a great life, be a big people, become a big shot. Eventually, at the end of the story, who became a big shot? But shayateen and the agents of shayateen, both in the brothers of Yusuf and in these women, are going to distract you. That you will never become a big shot if you follow Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you follow Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, eventually you are going to become a big shot. But follow Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Don't follow the evil desires. Then I'll end inshallah here, the last ayah. We'll continue next time inshallah.
قال رب السجن أحب إلي مما يدعونني إليه وإلا تصرف عني كيدهن أصب إليهن وأكن من الجاهلين.
Yusuf alayhi salam saw this, that now one woman was seeking attention, now multiple women are seeking the attention. What happened to Yusuf alayhi salam? How many of you go to UTD? Raise your hand. Okay, both brothers and sisters, okay. If you know that there is one guy who is getting attention of 20 sisters, why you're looking at that particular guy? No, I'm kidding. Or vice versa, sisters. I don't know how sister psychology works because this is the case of the Yusuf alayhi salam, he's a man, so I'm just telling you for the brother. Will he become more arrogant? Now every sister is throwing herself to me, huh? He become a walking Dajjal. So arrogant, because we see the world from different angle. When Yusuf alayhi salam saw this, that I was actually having one problem, now there are multiple women are trying to seek my attention. Some of them are, let's say, kaidahunna in this ayah. Basically, they are planning to get the attention, sending messages, flirtatious signals, so on and so forth. Now Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam said, فَاسْتَجَابَ لَهُ رَبُّهُ وَصَرَفَ عَنْهُ كَيْدَهُنْ إِنَّهُ هُوَ السَّمِيعُ الْعَلِيمُ. Actually, before that, قَالَ رَبِّ السِّجْنِ أَحَبُّ إِلَيَّ مِمَّا يَدْعُونَنِي إِلَيْهِ. He said, my master, my Allah, I prefer prison over what they are calling me to. If this is what they are calling me to, I would prefer prison. Can you imagine this? If he would have done zina, he would have had freedom. If he's saying no to zina, he would get prison. But he says prison is better. Restriction is better than the free life what they are offering me. وَإِلَّا تَصْرِفْ عَنِّي. And now he's actually saying, and Allah, if you won't remove them from me, أَصْبُ إِلَيْهِنْ, then I might incline towards them. Asbu comes from the same word you get sibbi. Sibbi, what is sibbi in Arabic? Child. Just like a child does something without thinking of the consequences, I might do something without thinking of the consequences because it's getting out of control. إِلَيْهِنَّ وَأَكُمْ مِنَ الْجَاهِلِينَ. And then if I will do this, I will going to become jahil. I don't want to become that. By the way, jahil is not illiterate. Jahil is here to do something without thinking of the consequences. We have seen many PhD jahil. Right? So jahil is not only illiterate, jahil is when you do something without thinking of the consequences. Okay. Test of the brothers and test of the Yusuf. Let's conclude this. If you see test of the brothers and test of the woman here, you see few commonalities. I'll mention few and then you can tell me if you have noticed anything. One was the test of the men in toxic masculinity, as I said, right? The other was the test of the woman in test of the toxic femininity. One was the test of the physical abuse along with emotional abuse. The other was the test of sexual abuse, right? In brother's case, they did out of jealousy, and in the woman's case, they did out of lust, right? Both of them wanted to act on their feeling without thinking of their consequences, right? In both the cases, both wanted to get the attention and ended up harming Yusuf. And both of them were going to have self-esteem issues. In both the cases, they were pathological liars to cover up their stories. In both of their cases, their lies were exposed. In both of their lies, not only they were exposed, but they were exposed by the shirt of Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam. Both lies were exposed by Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam, but still Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam didn't get the justice. Subhanallah. From the legal system of that time. This is a beautiful, beautiful story that oftentimes difficult roads to a beautiful destination, because the ending of the surah is that both of these individuals and the groups will realize their mistake. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us all the ability to understand this, inshallah, and to forgive our shortcomings, inshallah ta'ala, and to protect our young generation from zina. Ameen ya Rab. Jazakumullahu khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.